The Mason Jar started a couple of years ago. It was started by two sisters, Ashley and Katie. They both grew up here in Cave Creek, but Katie now lives in South Dakota. So the warehouse and everything's in South Dakota, but we do have the Cave Creek store. So it actually started primarily online, and it's one of like the biggest online boutiques now. And then they were like, you know what, let's try a storefront. So they opened one up in like a super small town in South Dakota, and it did really well. So they're like, well, if it does well in like Podunk, South Dakota, like it can probably do well like in Cave Creek. So they opened up the Cave Creek store in July of last year, so 2016, and we've just been doing super well so far.
The Mason Jar Boutique in Cave Creek, Arizona is coming up on their 1-year anniversary. For being both a small business in a small town, it's seen some great successes.
So Cave Creek's a really small town. There's only about 5,000 people. There's just like a couple of schools, one high school, like just like that type of town, like typical like small Arizona town. But I think one of the reasons that's like one of the reasons that the Mason Jar works so well here, because there's like nothing else like it. Like shopping wise, unless you want to go to like Scottsdale, there's really nothing besides like Target, which I mean like everyone loves Target, but like something like this, like everyone comes in and is like, oh my gosh, like we needed something like this.
According to the U.S. Small Business Association, 99.4% of Arizona businesses are considered small businesses. However, only 28% of those are retail businesses like the Mason Jar.
We do pretty well for a small town business, but I think that the downside of that is that because we are so far away from like the main cities, we kind of draw the same crowds, which is nice because then you get to know the customers and everything, but then at the same time, like you're not, you know, you don't have like a huge group of people to pull from. You're kind of like your town and then that's about it. But I mean, sometimes we get people that will come from 30 minutes away and be like, oh, I saw you guys on Facebook or on Instagram or whatever. And then they do make the drive up here.
For many small businesses like the Mason Jar, social media is a huge component in not only bringing customers, but building community relationships.
Like when we first opened, like back in September, like a couple months of being open, actually a local photographer reached out to us and was like, do you want to like collaborate and do a photo shoot? So she provided the models, we provided the clothes, and then we ended up with this like super cool kind of like retro looking photo shoot, and like we wouldn't have had that. And also those pictures are great for social media, and then she also gets to promote her business, so like we wouldn't have that relationship if it weren't for social media.
Whether it comes down to the old-fashioned word of mouth or a deliberate social media strategy, this small town boutique will only continue to grow from here.